This is a review of the Marvel Team-Up Omnibus. Now you can see the volume here. It's about 840 pages. Lots and lots of great stories. See on the back there, all the different ones there. And you can see there, Marvel Team-Up and Marvel Omnibus. Really nice quality book, as ever, from Marvel Comics. And here it is without the, obviously, dust jacket as well. The book I never thought Marvel would bring out. Seemed to be for ages. Now, of course, you've got the various Marvel Masterworks. Also, you've got various Essentials, but an omnibus. Also, an epic. Well, we still haven't got the epic, but we have got now the Omnibus Volume 1. And the cover's fine, but it does, I suppose, include the main characters. Obviously, Human Torch and Spider-Man. Of course, this was from issue 1, but just an odd choice. It's not, I think, the world's greatest of covers. But it is, of course, a Christmas issue, which is really nice because it is Christmas time at the moment. So you've got here Omnibus, and it's got an interesting set of stories. Issues 1 to 30 of the Marvel Team-Up. Daredevil number 103, Giant Size number 1, and also Giant Size Spider-Man number 1 to 3. And that's obviously got all the various artists and writers and things. It's a complete list there, as always. And then you've got the contents. Now the stories, they're from 1972 all the way through to 1975. Obviously, hopefully, there will be a Team-Up volume number 2 at some point. I assume probably even 3 as well. I don't know how far it would need to go. Of course, usual introductions, but the trouble with introductions is they're always from the Marvel Masterworks, generally. And this one's from 2010. But then we're on to the first one, the Christmas one. Have Yourself a Sandman Little Christmas. Marvel really didn't create that many Christmas stories. I think this must have been one of the near first. There's a few, like obviously the Nick Fury one comes to mind as well. But they were included in the Marvel Holiday Grab Bag. I love that one. It's a very decent enough story, Sandman. I mean, the artwork is a bit odd. I'm never a mega fan of Andru's artwork. It's fine, Ross Andru, but it's still not always for me. Maybe sometimes, obviously, depends on the inker as well, of course. But the first stories, weirdly, got this obviously Frightful Four. I always love the Frightful Four, and Annihilus, a very weird combination. But you've got the early stories where you've got Human Torch and Spidey. Probably that was the early idea that we're going to have a couple of those stories. I would love like the Thing turning up more often. Also maybe because like Strange Tales, the Thing and the Human Torch. But also Reed Richards and Sue Storm would have been great. But also more combinations of various characters like maybe Marvel Girl and the Human Torch, etc. Or Cyclops and someone else, the Thing. And then you've got next story, which this one, a Morbius story. And again, absolutely fine, decent enough story, but it does lead on to one of my favourite, X-Men. It's one of the ones stories. The X-Men didn't have a comic for a period of time, so they were sort of here, there and everywhere. And you've got, of course, the Iceman, you've got various other characters. They always look really quite odd, actually. Really quite different from the, of course, superb artwork. Always Gil Kane, I always love that style. However, on to the next story, and the next story is a real weird one with the Puppet Master. He's got one of the weirdest villains as well, or this big sort of creature here. And you got the Vision. I think it's a really good little story with the Vision. And of course, as always with these, you've got the letters pages. Always enjoy the letters pages, always fascinating to read what people's opinions were, because quite often you think, oh, read that, and it's always 2 stories back. The great thing about it, you think, oh, that's a good point. You sort of think, I'll really look at that story, perfectly reasonable, and you sort of reevaluate it. But this one, Spider-Man and the Thing, you still see there's quite a common theme. The Fantastic Four turning up quite a bit in this. And then on to the next. But this time we're changing. Spider-Man and Thor, A Hitch in Time. Very odd one. Again, Ross Andru there. And some really odd artwork there. Quite weird when they do negative artwork. Still, on to the next one. We've got the cat. Beware the claws of the cat. Now, I think at this point, you've even got the Watcher in the other story as well. You've got the cat. Now, obviously, the story changed a bit for the cat afterwards, but you had the first 4 issues of the Beware the Claws of the Cat, but we had now Cat Together. I wish they'd continued that series. Sad that they didn't, but still, another letters page there. And then we've got Iron Man, which leads on to a sort of a couple of stories anyway, with Kang as well as the Tomorrow Man. Tomorrow Man is always a character I always felt sorry for in many ways. He was the character that could have been Kang. And it's got the Avengers, got some near enough Avengers tale in many ways, because the Avengers do turn up. They're quite odd actually in this story. But Spidey, and of course, and then you've got the Human Torch, gets into the story as well. It's all still involved in time travel, and even the Inhumans as well. And Maximus helping obviously building this useful tool. Then we got, of course, another one of those introductions, and then we're into Spider-Man and the Werewolf. Not by night, but in this case, Wolf at large, Spider at bay. And I think that's pretty decent. On to, of course, this one, which is a bit of an odd one, Daredevil and Black Widow. They obviously included it for reasons, obviously, if the story continues on later. So they've included that. Also, of course, I love these adverts, Savage Tales #2, as it says there, and Ramrod. On to, of course, AIM, good old AIM. This one's a great one with the Grey Gargoyle. One of my least favourite characters, but he's still, there he is, the Grey Gargoyle, always trying to, very, obviously you can turn anyone to stone, and there's some weird bits in it. Now, something actually in many ways I didn't really notice when I saw it in the Marvel Team Up Essential Edition. Of course, you've got, see the Grey here, and you can see obviously there, you've got the characters turn into stone. I didn't realise that when you've seen them in, of course, the other one. You got the Menfish. This is a weird one. This got Namor, good old Namor there. I haven't fighted again. Obviously, Spidey he's obviously been out of the sea for a bit too long there. On to the next one, which we've got the Ghost Rider and the Orb character. Obviously, hypnotises the character, all the various people. Of course, luckily, Peter Parker turns away at the right time. He's obviously got spider sense, so he can always, of course, take on any of these people that do that. But this is a good one as well. You've got a lovely Captain Marvel one, Basilisk, I don't know how you say that, which ends in a very odd way. I'd say it gets obviously got this very stoner power, supernatural, beware the Basilisk, my son. They always love that type. I think they must have reused that many, many times. But it's still great bit of artwork, good little story. I love of that Captain Marvel, but it does lead on to this, where you've got again the Fantastic Four. You've got Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, the Mole Man Strikes Back. I think I've seen that line, that design quite often, but still. And then we got good old Blaster. There's Blaster again, and sort of another Fantastic Four thing. Obviously, you've got Fantastic Four there again, and the Human Torch. Now, I think this one, yes, this is a Human Torch and the Hulk. That's a very odd team up, isn't it? But again, something I wish they had done more. Wish they had done more Human Torch ones. Personally, the reason why I think it was always Spidey generally, and I think at the end it was near enough always Spidey. And you got this. I like this one again. Kazar, of course, some brilliant artwork again. Really love the story. So Gil Kane there again, and of course depends on the inker as well. But I think it's great. Then Black Panther gets in. So you've got all the characters turning up. Then this one's a real nice one, Xandu, which is really good because, of course, it leads from a previous annual. A really good one. So Spider-Man and the Sorcerer. So it's really nice to see old Spidey there. And, of course, you've got that wand again. And, of course, there's a twist in the storyline, which I do not want to reveal. And Morbius turns up again. It's seems to be quite a regular. Then we've got a quick awesome apology. Was really great. Giant-sized Super Teams Defenders. Now, that is an odd one. That is so odd. I must admit, I don't think I've ever seen that one. Really never thought about it. And I suggest, well, it was Marvel Feature. Of course, that was Marvel, became Marvel Feature. Instead of Giant-sized Super Teams issue 1, you got the Defenders. Then we had Marvel. Now, I assume, yeah, because obviously that picture is the cover of the Marvel Feature. Never ever seen that one before. I don't even know if it was included in the Defenders Omnibus, which it should have been, shouldn't it? Still, Spider-Man and Hawkeye, the Messiah Machine. And on to yet another good old introduction. Again, which year was this? This was 2017. Then we got, weirdly we got these, giant-sized Spider-Man. Now, a lot of people will say, this is a bit of double dipping. It was, because this one, the giant-sized one, but I did enjoy this one, so it doesn't worry me that it was included. I suppose it was a Marvel team-up, sort of stretching it a bit, because it's not really a Marvel team-up annual #1. But they put it in here, giant-sized Spider-Man and Dracula. But it was a good story with Dracula. I love the Dracula one. And also you got here, giant-sized Master of Kung Fu. Now, this one was not included in the giant-size volume, so it's really nice they put this in. Oh, saying that, while they were doing those ones, for some weird reason they decided to put Human Torch and Iceman. But Human Torch and Iceman is always a great combination. In many ways, Iceman would have been a great one to be included in these Marvel team-ups. They could have had like 3 or 4 characters that would take the lead for a bit. So I just didn't do that. But you got here, of course, the X-Men turning up again. I don't know if this one was actually included in all the variety of different volumes that have included all the missing stories, or certainly lost stories, or sort of less well-known stories of the X-Men. I don't know if this one was included. Perhaps it was, I can't recall. But still, there's that. This one, Brother Voodoo. I think this was actually probably the first Marvel team-up I bought. Remember getting this one when it came out, because it's around about the time that I started, 73, collecting all the various Marvel comics. It was a bit earlier, but I don't remember getting that one. Quite certain I didn't get that one. I definitely got that one. So Brother Voodoo, and they're good stories. Excellent. I really enjoyed. He was in the Horror Omnibus. Worth checking out. Those brilliant volume, the Horror Omnibus even. Onto yet another Daredevil story. And this is great because these characters turned up really, really early in the Daredevil things. You got there. 3 into 2 won't go. The Unholy Trio, as they were called. Not certain why they were called Unholy Trio, but however, they had obviously this strong man, obviously beast character, and you also got the angel-like character and a cat-like character. I think they really didn't turn up that often, but this was just a great, nice that they just came back for this with this story. They must have been around doing crimes. They just obviously, or they were in prison, I guess. Okay, we've got this one, the classic Master of Kung Fu. Remember seeing this in the shops at the time? I think it was Dark They Were in Golden Eye. Probably most of the giant size ones, these ones, you just probably couldn't find in your local shops. So certainly I never did in my town anyway. So these ones I would have picked up, and this one, Master of Kung Fu, I really love these stories. So they're absolutely great. Don't even know if they were included in the Epic collections. They brought out 2 or 3 volumes of Master of Kung Fu. Oh, I had this one. This was a great one, Human Torch and Thor. And of course at the time, the Lava Man, etc. Wasn't particularly familiar with this character, but you've got obviously the story there with the Thor there. Of course, Thor battled Lava Man in the very, very early stories. And then we've got this one, Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, Chameleon, good old Chameleon, who of course was one of the early characters that Spidey faced. Very, very early characters. And you got there the Hulk, obviously having a nice chat with a few people there in prison. Onto, of course, you've got these as well. Marvel value stamps, superb, and of course, advert for Deadly Hangs of Kung Fu. This one I don't remember. I probably got it, I'm quite certain. Spider-Man and Hercules, but the City Stealers. Fine enough story, but nothing particularly to write home about. And onto, I think even the villains are a bit, no. But yes, I think I remember getting this because, of course, this dramatic, remember that bit? That's the only bit I remember of the story. It's very dramatic. I just love the sort of way, by hand. Well, it's not really by hand, is it? He's stretching it, obviously, by legs. They should have said, by legs! Yes, he's putting in things. It would have been hard to do it by hands, I guess. He could have done it, I suppose. However, on to the next story, which I have waited for a long time to read this one. The giant-sized Spider-Man Doc Savage. Again, it wasn't reprinted. I think, obviously, for rights issues or reasons, I don't know. Oh, War is Hell one. I think that must have been probably one of the early issues of that. But this one, Doc Savage, I really love it. I love all the pulp ones of Doc Savage. Really great. And, of course, Doc Savage, the comic, didn't have many issues. 1 to 8 or something like that. But there also was, or maybe 1 to 6. But also you had Black and White magazine, which I absolutely loved. That's really good to get. You can get the collection of that. Really worth checking out. And this story is fine. It's not a masterpiece particularly because it's got the complicated bit, messy bit where you've got a character that's sort of cross time. They didn't sort of like have suddenly all the Doc Savage's character, all the gang sort of transferred in time into sort of modern time. But, or Spidey getting transferred. Maybe he could have sort of jumped into sort of the Fantastic Four's time machine or something. That would have made him go back to the 1930s. In many ways, I'd have preferred that story. But still, instead, we got this character, obviously, that spans that period of time. And on to the next one. This one, oh no, it's still Dr. Savage at this point. We've got, Iron Man, and this time Infinitus. He stays dead. I can't imagine that. This Iron Man, but this character is a bit of a non-character, but I do remember getting this comic. He lives forever. Well, unfortunately, in terms of storyline, well, does he live forever? Who knows? But we're now on to Spidey and Falcon. The Falcon. And let's put the Falcon. But that is it for all of the various stories. And of course, I don't know what the next issue was, but we've of course got some lovely ones here. And at least they do include the holiday grab bag. This is classic. I mean, that's really, really good stories. So we've got the Mortal Kombat with Submariner, of course, which is not very Christmassy, but they included it anyway. And To All a Good Night, that was a great one with the Black Widow. And also the Hulk versus the Thing and the Avengers Takeover. Again, not particularly known for Christmas elements, but there's not that many, not many stories with Christmas. The Nick Fury one is one that comes to mind. And also Luke Cage, of course, I think they included that in the next one after that. But you've got here, obviously, the covers. And then we've got, another advert for this. This was, that was the first one. 100 pages. It was still, got it Christmas time. Wow, what a brilliant one. And of course, you've got the usual inked pages and stuff, and there's obviously other ink pages. Obviously, sometimes you can see the difference between how well they've been stored. And then you've got this, which I found slightly unusual inclusion, but still, they've included it. Marvel Tales, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, etc. The Orb, obviously, these were reprints, but personally, well, they're fine. They've got the space. Though, you've got, obviously, this is not from Marvel Team Up, but obviously some of the stories there are Marvel Team Up. You could always include, of course, like the Daredevil one, Spider-Man, obviously with the Ringmaster. So all those sort of stories where you've got a bit of a crossover, Daredevil and Captain America. If you came out with a reprint of the team-ups, you could do those sort of team-ups. In many ways, I'm surprised Marvel didn't go for that, like DC, because they've been doing, of course, their team-up books. And I think that would be quite nice, doing a team-up one where you've got like Daredevil and Captain America, etc. But whether that happens, who knows? Be nice just to get the epics, of course. And there are all the covers on the back. So you've got all the different ones there, so you can see. And the price, what is it? $100. $100 in the US. I paid about £60, I think, in the UK. So let's just move that out of the way, because what I've got also here is, push that a bit further away, Marvel Team Up. Now, while I was reading this, and I was just obviously wanted to compare the two, the book came apart, which is a real great start, isn't it? Yeah, didn't last very long. Glue gave away. But this one goes up to issue 24, so you've got Marvel Team Up. Now, it doesn't include the Daredevil, etc., so, or any of the giant-sized ones. You can see the artwork there. Have Yourself a Sandman Christmas, and also Trapped by the Frightful Four, etc. And you can see, obviously, the stories there, the X-Men one there as well, and, of course, the Cat one, and any other ones, and the Captain Marvel one as well. Now, I really love this one, black and white one, but it's a pity it's just falling apart. That's always the way, isn't it? You can see on the back there, Spider-Man teams up. Well, also, it was, of course, the Human Torch teams up with other people. But, of course, we also had this, the Marvel 2-in-1 presents The Thing. And I thoroughly enjoyed this, though I think, personally, my favourites were the team-up ones, more than the 2-in-1, but they had the same sort of thing with, obviously, Gollum there, Black Widow, sort of Thor, of course, there you can see Miracle Man there, Enchantress, Doctor Strange. Those, you can see there's a similar sort of the Guardians of the Galaxy, of course. Now, they never did that one, though I don't know if Spider-Man ever teamed up with the Guardians of the Galaxy later on. And obviously then the Man-Thing. And of course you've got the classic one with Thanos there and the Thing and Hulk. But what we have got also, some of these. The Human Torch one, like I said, this is probably about the earliest one. Maybe Brother Voodoo. I haven't got that one anymore, so can't say. So this one's Lava Man. It was good, really good, decent enough story. And I can't remember what it is, probably about 1974 issue. Oh, 1974. Oh, that's strange. Okay. Didn't realise that was so late there. And of course you've got there the Lava Man, obviously in lava. I would have thought the Human Torch would have had no problem with that whatsoever. And of course Thor there as well. And on to, obviously, all the usual bits at the end. Foom, good old Foom. As well as Spider-Man and the Cat. Got the Cat. See, sometimes they had the Cat, but not always the Falcon. But Manga, it's a very poor copy, this one. Of course, you can see it's very, I think it cost me about 10p. Really good. Love the cat stories. So it was nice to get that. And see there. But also, to just finish off, we got this, Brave and the Bold, because of course you have to mention team-ups. Now, I've also got a team-up book as well that's really worth checking out. But let's just go through that first. We got this one, 100 pages, of course, just brilliant. I loved these ones. Of course, it quite often had a new story at the start, but then, of course, you had other sort of team-up ones when they did have some really decent team-ups. Aquaman and Hawkman, and that's what I always felt. I always felt that they should have done more mix of these, Batman and Green Lantern. After a while, it just became Batman all the time. Likewise with Spider-Man. But still, really, really excellent to finally get this omnibus collection. So this one, are you going to pick this up? Have you got any intention of picking this up? Or are you going to wait for the Epic collections? Of course, I assume at some point they will bring an Epic set out as well. But the omnibus, I think, is fine. So it's one that I'm just really pleased that they've brought out. Hopefully there will be a volume 2. But before I finish off, what I want to go through is this, the Team Up Companion. This is from tomorrow. Now, it came out a while back and I assume it's probably out of print now. I don't know. It's paperback, but it's really worth getting. If you can't get it physically, I think they normally have a digital download for it. Normally a lot cheaper to buy as well, getting that. And you've got like things like here, the Harvey team-ups, which I think is just great. But also it's got lots and lots of great index at the back. So you've got the Brave and the Bold. But you've got here all the various Marvel ones here, Marvel Team-Up, etc. Obviously, you've got a bit of information about all the various issues. And of course, you've got team-ups like this one, Superman and Muhammad Ali, and also Superman and Wonder Woman. And onto Marvel team-ups, and of course, got the classic Marvel team. Of course, that probably will not be included in an omnibus volume, I assume. Would be lovely to see, wouldn't it? But I don't think that's ever going to happen. But you've got here, like, weirdly on Marvel team-up, they've got Inferior 5 there. You've got Wizard of Oz, got other ones there. And onto, of course, there's some other ones, Superman, giant supervillain team-up, I just saw there. Also, of course, here's 2 in 1. And on to, let's see, oh, this is the Marvel Team-Up one section here as well. So Mockingbird, of course, there, Red Sonja, and also Hulk, obviously, oh, there's some of the covers there. And of course, that one, Human Torch magazine, I remember that one. And also on to some of these ones, obviously here, GI Combat, and also Brave and the Bold, and others. So that's the Team-Up Companion, really worth picking up if you can get a copy of that. But back to this, I think it's a great volume. It's got 800 odd pages, 840 pages, I believe. And it's just wonderful to finally see and read some of the stories that I just haven't read for ages and ages, which is always the joy of getting these omnibus editions, just picking up the old stories that personally I've seen here, there, and quite often sort of occasionally featuring in other omnibus collections, but it's all a bit bitty. So it is nice to have them all going from 1 to issue 30, etc. Anyway, hope you had a wonderful Christmas and bye.